Welcome back, everyone. Well, if you visit New York State or you happen to live in Albany County, but especially Saratoga, Warren, and Washington County, you can't help but be completely impressed with the majesty of Lake George. Truly the queen of American lakes, and we're lucky to have this in our backyard. What you may not know, though, is that the lake is under threat from invasive species. And when we got the press release, we invited Dave Wick, who's the executive director of the Lake George Park Commission, to come in and just give us a briefer on what's going on with this program and the importance of it in protecting that magnificent body of water. So first, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. And give us just a quick background on the Lake George Park Commission.
Sure. The Park Commission is a very small New York State agency solely charged with the long-term protection of Lake George, whether it's stormwater runoff and pollution or invasive species. Again, very small agency. We have a Marine Patrol on the lake dedicated to public safety on the lake, but it's a good crew of folks. We work with a lot of municipalities to protect the lake for the future.
Now, you charge a fee for boats, you charge a fee for docks.
Correct.
And that's the only source of funding for this commission, right? Nobody's writing checks.
Yeah, the Lake George Park Commission doesn't receive tax dollars directly.
Right.
It was originally framed back in 1961 that the users of the lake would be charged with helping to protect it for the future. Right. So boat and dock fees are the full funding of the commission. Well,
as somebody who uses the lake frequently, and all my friends, no one has ever complained about paying that fee, I'll tell you.
It's pretty reasonable, averages out about $35
right.
per boater per year.
To be on that lake.
To be on the lake.
So let's go to the heart of the matter. Invasive species. The ones that we hear most often are milfoil, which is a weed, right. and these little pesky clams called the Asian clams.
Asian clam.
Give us an update on how those programs are going to eradicate both of those.
Sure. We have programs in place to address milfoil. Milfoil is a very aggressive aquatic weed that's been in the lake since 1986. The great news is we have a 3-year program in place, and we think we have the funding available to largely eradicate it from the lake for the first time in 30 years. So that's moving forward. This is the first of a 3-year program. Asian clam, in the last 3 years, we've spent about $3 million total with municipal contributions from the state and nonprofits. And we've done a great job working to control those, but they grow so aggressively and so quickly. There's a number of sites on Lake George where we're really starting to look hard at being able to address. So that's what's in the lake. The next step is trying to keep new things out of the lake.
Right, got you. You know, as somebody who uses the lake, I've seen that milfoil problem and I've seen that Asian clam problem. That's quite a task for you to undertake. So, of course, the question begs to be asked, how do these species get into the lake?
Sure. Yeah, the invasive species issue is a challenge for all lakes in New York State and really across the country. Lake George is one of the largest, or the cleanest large bodies of water in the whole country. And it's so important to keep new invasive species out. One of the major ways that invasive species get into Lake George is through boaters.
Right.
Inadvertently, if you came from one lake and you come into Lake George, you might be carrying an invasive species unknowing to that boater. So the program that we're putting in place is to take a look at those boats before they get into the lake.
Right. Now, so that we know, it's not like you, even as a boater, with the best intentions in the world, these are microscopic animals or vegetation that, you know, you may look at the hull of your boat or the engine of your boat and think, oh, I'm fine. You know, it's not an issue.
Right.
When in fact, it's quite an issue, as you've discovered. So this program to decontaminate boats as they come into the lake is, just give us a little background, because I understand there'll be stations set up around the lake in different places.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a very straightforward program. We have 6 regional inspection stations. So if you're a trailered vessel, so if you're bringing a trailer boat to Lake George, you'll have to stop at one of those 6 regional inspection stations, get inspected. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes at most, and we're looking for a standard of being clean and drained and dry. If it meets that standard, off you go, launch wherever you'd like into the lake. If you're not found to be clean, drained, and dry, then right at those inspection stations is a boat wash unit. We'll wash off your boat at no charge, and then you go launch into the lake wherever you like. So the program is funded half by New York State, half by local municipalities and nonprofits, and we think it's going to be a good program.
Right, and let's just cycle back on that. There's no cost to the boater,
correct?
Right, and we're not talking about taking 2 hours out of your precious day, which you want to be spent on the water. And the other thing is that there are a lot of places to launch a boat on Lake George. However, when you have to take it to one of these stations, your boat gets tagged at that point, and there are monitors at just about every launch site on the lake.
Exactly.
So that, you pass inspection and in you go. A lot of viewers in Saratoga, Warren, and Washington County own boats on Lake
Right.
George. They're stored on Lake George. How does it affect them?
Yeah, we have this great program going on right now called the Frozen Boats Program, whereby if you have a boat in a storage facility around Lake George, or if your boat is hauled into Lake George, we have agreements with those folks saying that you don't need an inspection for the beginning of the year, where if your boat has been outside, there's no threat of invasive species coming into the lake, so it's all set to go. So that'll probably take 3,000 to 4,000 boats off the docket for overloading the inspection sites at the beginning of the season. It's important to note that once you come back out of Lake George, your boat is going to be resealed. And so the next time you come back, if you haven't gone to another body of water, there's no inspection required. So for folks that are just going back and forth to Lake George, they'll get inspected once and they'll never have to get inspected again.
Right. This is not a nuisance. This is actually a means to an end to protect this lake. Doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't cost anything.
Exactly.
And you're putting measures in, obviously, all over the place to make certain that it's ease of access to the people who want to get
Right.
their boats on the lake and enjoy the lake. Website has been set up for more information on this. What's that website?
Yeah, LakeGeorgeBoatInspections.com. Just go
That makes
check it
sense.
out. It has all the information that you need to know. This program is kind of modeled after what they're doing out in the western part of the U.S. very successfully. So we have the benefit of that. We're learning as we go, so you can always contact the Lake George Park Commission with more questions. But again, LakeGeorgeBoatInspections.com. Go take a look.
Great, and you'll find that on our website, by the way. Just one last question we didn't touch on. 7 days a week, from approximately 7, 8 in the morning.
From sun up to sundown,
Sun
at
up to
those
sundown.
6 inspection stations on that website, it has the hours of each inspection station.
Great. Well, I just want to compliment you and your organization there. The Lake George Park Commission does wonderful work up there to protect that lake. And go to our website, and they can find out all the information they want, right?
Excellent.
All right, David, thanks for coming in.
Okay, thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.